That's not the right vibe. That's not really working for me. Okay, well, we tried. Shake it out a little then. Okay. So we have a special treat in store for you now. We've talked a lot about duplication today. We've talked about leadership, but we're going to lean in on leadership right now. And as you can see from the chairs, we are bringing up a panel. So I want to introduce our panelists. First up, we have Candy Cannon, who is a 2-star executive. She joined LifeWave in January of 2023. She's also a licensed massage therapist, a mom of 3, a stepmom of 3, and a lolly to 5. Is that not the most adorable name for grandma? When your name is Candy, you get them to call you Lolly. So cute, right? I'm like, my worst nightmare is being called grandma or granny one day, no time soon. But I love it. Lolly, so cute. Okay, next up we have John and Teresa Getz, 3-star executives. You guys listen to this. They have been in this channel for 30 years. They were at their last company for 14 years. They walked away from that business to come to LifeWave because of the opportunity here. Is that not incredible? I think it's incredible. It speaks so much to knowledgeable industry professionals, channel professionals who see what we have here, right? They also have 5 kids, a mere 17 grandkids, who they say are their why. And last but not least, we have Gary Homburg, all the way from Tampa, Florida. So far, he came the furthest of anyone from Tampa. He is a 1-star presidential leader, married to his beautiful bride, Barbara, for 37 years. He's got 2 kids. Woo! My heel just went through the stage. 2 kids, 2 grandkids, and just a lot of goodness to share with you guys. So please help me welcome our incredible panel to the stage. See that? We can dance to. Okay, but we won't. We're going to lean in on leadership. Sound good? You guys ready? Yeah. Okay. So, Teresa, I want to start with you. Because I think sometimes when we think of leadership, we think of hitting ranks or hitting numbers. So, what does leadership mean in direct selling beyond ranks, titles, numbers?
That's actually a great question. So leadership is actually really about influence, responsibility, serving, helping your people, your team, your organization get what they're looking for. That's what it's really all about. And I wrote down a couple of points, you guys. But you want to learn to inspire, educate, equip, and motivate people. Figure out what their dreams are. So number 1, I believe, Janine, it's develop people, volume will follow.
Yes.
And somebody up here said it. Zig Ziglar said, help enough people get what they want, and eventually you will get what you want. Right?
I love that so much.
That's what it is, develop people. Number 2, lead by example. If you're not going to the events, if you're not consistently recruiting, what's your team going to do? It's follow the leader. So lead by example and be a good example. Create trust and integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. If you're going to be on a Zoom, if you're going to be on a Connect call or a 3-way call, always do what you say you're going to do so that your people trust you and you have integrity. Number 4, teach people to be independent, not dependent. I love it. Brooke talked about it. Point. Teach people where to go and where to find the resources. Don't be the expert. And number 5, vision. You guys, it's all about vision. The word says, my people perish for a lack of vision. So teach people how to get that vision front and center. So they're always looking at it, because what you have out in front of you, whether you're doing a dream board, a vision board, putting it on the refrigerator, you're going to be pulled towards that and attracted towards that.
I love that. Okay, I feel like I could spend the same amount of time as you just spent answering that question. I feel like I could spend recapping it. But I want to lean in, Candy, on one of the things that Teresa said, which is about creating independence, right? How do you develop leaders instead of creating a dependence on you?
I think that's a really good question, because that's not something that I came to this knowing naturally. This is something that I've had to learn over time. I think in the beginning, the temptation is definitely to want to give all the answers to all the questions. I know I even found myself where I was tempted to anticipate what they might want next. And that's not what we want to do. Now when I work with a new brand partner, I try to explain to them that my job isn't to be the hero or the expert, but really just to help them share this simple, natural technology on their own. The beautiful part is that our technology is so beautiful. It is so simple, right? It doesn't require a long, complicated explanation. Instead of trying to tell people everything that I know, I just want to help them share simply, compliantly, and authentically. So it's just a matter of figuring out how to do that, without doing everything for them.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, you can make leadership look hard. I mean, if you're the expert in everything, and if you're answering all the questions, and if you're doing things for them, and if you're answering texts at 1 a.m. unnecessarily because the answer's in the back office, you're probably scaring someone away from wanting to be a leader because they're like, do I have to do that? That
100%.
sounds crazy.
Yeah,
right?
And it goes back to just, it's not duplicatable.
It's
we
not
cannot
duplicatable.
do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
John, this one might be fun. What's the biggest leadership mistake you made, and what did it teach you?
First of all, Matt, if I don't sit up straight, would you let me know? Because Teresa said make sure you sit up straight, leaning your shoulders back. So if not, just holler at me, okay?
Okay, so now you have a coach and an accountability partner.
Yeah,
I love it. Right here.
I want
It's
to make sure
happening.
this happens. And then, Janine, before I answer that question, I keep reading that and I'm thinking, I would call it fire hosing on everybody. You just we understand. You got to know where people are. You got to know where they're at, what they're dealing with life, where their situation is, and we just take people by the hand and just.
Challenge, I think, sometimes, because sometimes we see so much potential in someone and we're like, oh, but why aren't they doing it, right? They got to do it when they're ready. So I love that. Okay, we also know, and we heard this earlier, I know Jay talked about it, not every day in this business is a great day. Sometimes things feel hard, right? So Gary, how do you lead a team through seasons of maybe low momentum in their business, or even when someone might feel burnt out?
Yeah, well, thank you for the question. When I got that, I realized that I didn't have a lot of that same experience, so I did some, research on it as far as low turn. I have a lot of self-starters, and what I was talking to Dr. Stacy about is one thing that came from your question was that I'm going to commit to reaching out to them, all of my leaders, that I really haven't done because they're all pretty much self-managing, and I'm going to ask if I can join their weekly Zooms and be a part of it, just to kind of get up to date and be on the lookout for those things. And in my own personal life, I love what I do, and I don't consider this work. It's, it's a job at the end of the day, but when you love what you do and you see lives change like they've changed and that I've seen in 4.5+ years, whose life are we going to change next? though? But as far as handling rejection was the question, right?
No.
Burnout.
Burnout. Yeah,
Okay,
low momentum or burnout. Yeah.
So acknowledge burnout openly. Hey, if you got an issue, take a couple of days off. Reconnect the team to purpose. Keep standards and adjust the pace. I'm one of those guys that, we're either going through, over, or around whatever it is, and we're not stopping until we get to the other side. But not everyone has that mentality.
Not everyone wears a Superman t-shirt every day.
No one ever has it. There you go. Sure. So set small, achievable goals. Lead with a calm, steady energy, which is really important, to kind of guide the ship. And hey, we've all been there. We've all had days where I couldn't tell you how many times when I would talk with Dr. Stacy and she'd say, Bill Barb. I'm thinking to myself, I've been trying to build Barb for quite a while now. Believe me, I understand, but not everyone works out the way that you want it to, and you just got to move on. You got to accept it, move on, put it behind you, stay away from the negativity, which is something I learned along the way. Clarify priorities. Recognize efforts, and I got some guys that are here today that I've been kind of encouraging. Hey, guy, I joined 3 groups this year. I had a guy that's coming to work. He says he is anyway. And his brother said to me, he said, man, where you are, why don't you just kick back? And I'm like, kick back? What are you? Why would I kick back when 2-star and 3-star is on my radar to get to? And what I do isn't work. I just didn't understand that mentality. But hey, I said, nah, I'm not kicking back. And then, let's see here. Invite team input and ownership and remind them that this season will pass. Sometimes people need a break, and I will tell you probably 3 months ago, I said to Dr. Stace, I got home run hitters, and you name it, it went wrong and nobody stood up to the plate. And yeah, I was disappointed because I thought we finally got people that are going to go to work. And they didn't pan out. So you just move on, you accept it, cut your losses, and don't focus on the things that didn't go well. Focus on the things that did go well.
I love that, yes.
Yeah, and thank you for the invite. And I just want to say, I've been with the company 4.5 years, not forever. And I saw Meredith come on, and I saw you come on. And I've worked for a lot of companies. I believe we have one of the best corporate teams I've ever seen, and I mean that. Yeah, I mean that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I love what you said about hanging on to the positive things. And one thing that I want to just hit for everyone here one more time that you said that really stood out for me was recognizing effort. So we have a fantastic new recognition program, right? But it's based on achieving ranks. But you as leaders all have the opportunity to recognize effort, right? If you're close enough to your business and your people, you know what they're doing day in and day out, and you can recognize them in ways that we can't. So I just want to make sure that everybody realizes, our new recognition program doesn't absolve you of your recognition responsibilities, right? Because you can get to different things and you can connect with people in different ways than we'll ever be able to do as a home office team. So thank you for mentioning recognizing effort, because I think it's huge. Get people more focused on the effort and less focused on the results, because the results will come, right, from the effort. Awesome. Okay. John, I want to go back to you and talk a little bit more about team, and specifically team culture. What do you feel are, for the two of you building, what are the non-negotiable values that guide how you build your team?
Well, this is something that Teresa and I live every day. We try to live. We're not perfect. I'm not like Matt Curtis. But what we try to do is live with integrity. Do the right thing for the right people all times. Be positive, but again, love people where they're at. And so we have the culture of, again, go back to what I said earlier, we take people where they're at and just help guide them. But I think trustworthy, integrity, build a great relationship, because most people want to hear themselves talk, and that's why I'm going to stop. But most people want to hear. So I feel like Teresa and I are very good listeners. We try to hear what they're saying. I know we do calls once in a while. Teresa, she's phenomenal. Somebody will just throw a bunch of negative stuff. Teresa will just pick that conversation right back up. And by the time the conversation's over, that the person is positive, excited, and ready to build. And that's what we try to build in our team and in our culture.
I love that. I love that. And that's a huge job as a leader, right? Is injecting that positivity, bringing people along, keeping them going. And sometimes when your team starts to get real big, then you get them to get accountability partners to help do that with each other as well, right? Okay, we've talked lots about duplication, but Candy, I want to go to you for a minute and just talk about, because your team is growing and you're growing at scale now. So how do you keep things simple enough, right, for duplication while you're growing that much, that fast?
Yeah, so I believe that simplicity actually creates scale. So actually, the more complicated the system is, the harder it is to duplicate. We all know that. And when we can't duplicate, that's when growth stalls. And again, our patches are so simple. So just focusing on not overcomplicating the sharing process. I try to be intuitive about that. Sometimes I'll ask myself, could a new brand partner do this? And if the answer is no, then it's too complex. Our team, we use multiple avenues to share. We share over social media platforms. We have in-person patch classes. We even use snail mail, which I know is kind of old-fashioned, but we do. But no matter how the platform changes, that we try to keep the system the same. So inviting with curiosity, share simply, and following up with care. Teaching people to lead with personal experience and not product overload.
I love that. And we heard a lot of that today, right? Keeping it simple, keeping it duplicatable, making sure that a new person can do what you're doing. And if they can't, then it's not duplicatable.
That's right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Gary, back to you. We talked a little bit about, low momentum maybe, and other things that cause bad days could be rejection. So I know it probably doesn't get to you because you just fly around over, under, around it, like you said earlier, with your Superman t-shirt on, but not everyone in your organization has that same positive mindset every day. So how do you help people handle rejection, especially when it comes from people that they don't expect it from, like their family and friends?
Sure. I mean, that's who more than likely is going to give you the problems or the issues. But the biggest thing is not to take it personal. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting an idea or something that you're presenting to them. A lot of that comes with time. A lot of that comes with getting no's. Either you pick up your pants at your bootstraps, or you move on, or maybe this isn't for you. But I think the maturity also comes with handling it in a way that you get enough no's and realize, hey, this is and in my mind, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that doesn't take place any place else that I'm aware of. And I hear all the time, 8 billion people on the planet, just go find another person. And I couldn't tell you how many times I walk around different events, and if you get within 3 feet, eventually I'm going to say, do you know what this is? No one knows. Nobody knows. I mean, every now and then, is that a nicotine patch or is that pain patch? What, but out of, I'm going to say 150 people that I've asked, maybe one person might have said LifeWave. Hang on, I dropped my note.
You're good. You know what you're doing. You don't even need them.
Yep. So, focus on alignment and teach emotional resiliency. It's a maturing thing. Model healthy responses to rejection. Hey, and I had a lady, I had a hairstylist at a really nice boutique. And every time I would buy flowers for Barbara, I'd buy flowers for her. And I'd stop in and say, hey, Kelly, here you go. I hope you enjoy them. And then she wasn't there. And I bet you I bought flowers 4 or 5 times because my wife gets flowers every week, all right? And,
Men, are you taking notes?
Never going to be without flowers as long as I'm alive. And I said, so I gave her some patches to try. And she said, hey, I don't think I'm going to do this. And I said, no problem. The door is always open. So next week, I'm going to drive up there and say, hey, I want you to come out and take a look at the new car and the new wrap and say, this is what this company and LifeWave has done for me. And this let it go from there. And the door is open. We parted on good terms. I'm still getting my hair cut there. And so redirect, and then remind them that family often limits belief. They don't want to see you get ahead and like, what are you doing? And model healthy responses to rejection. So all of those are, a learned process in some cases, and it just comes with the business. The more no's you get means you're going to get more yeses.
Absolutely. The more no's you get means you're going to get more yeses. So true. And you said, if you're not getting the answer that you were hoping for from one person, you go talk to somebody else, right? Anytime you're worried about what one person is saying to you, that's a signal that you're not talking to enough people, right? That's good. So I was taught that. Because it can feel tough, but go out and collect 100 no's. Imagine what your business would look like if you went out and got 100 no's. How many yeses would that be along the way, right? Love that. Okay, so along those lines, Teresa, how do you help your team build confidence when they're doubting themselves?
Okay, so I like to get in their shoes. Okay? I like to meet them where they're at. Somebody else said that today too. The common thread going through this whole Super Saturday. And I love to use the words feel, felt, found. Hey, I know how you feel. I felt the same way, but let me tell you what I found out. So everybody goes through stinking thinking. I bet you every person up here would agree. They all get in that stinking thinking. There are times where we all go through those emotions, but our pastor taught us something so great. He said, when you're going through hell, don't stop. Push on through to get to the other side.
Can you say that?
Yeah, I can say that.
I think she can say that.
I think I'm okay saying that.
It's okay.
So
if the pastor
anyway,
said it.
So what I teach people is, look, help people get a win. And something that'll help not have as much of an issue with some of that, with people having that doubt, is learning to teach people how to invite out of the gate, because if not, they go throw up on everybody and try to over-explain, and they get through their warm market, and then all of a sudden you wonder why they're in the witness protection program and you can't get a hold of them. So help people get wins quickly, but you do that by really working with your brand new people. I have a slogan, out of the gate in 48. I want to help people get out of the gate within 48 hours, help them get a win, whether it's a customer, whether it's a brand new brand partner at a core pack, whatever it is, and use the compensation plan as a ladder. So I love to teach them, let's get you to one-star manager. Set those small, biteable goals. So what we have to think about is most people out in the marketplace that we're talking to, guess what? They're moms, they're dads, they have 5 kids, they're running them to 20 different sporting activities, they have a full-time career. They do this very part-time, so meet them where they're at and help them get those little bite-sized wins, and every time you do that and you celebrate them and you recognize them, they get excited and their belief keeps growing and growing and growing.
Awesome, that is so good. Yes, those little wins. Imagine if everyone that you enrolled got a win within 48 hours.
It's a game changer.
Would that not change the game? Would that not change their business and therefore yours? Absolutely. I love that. Get them started quick. Things change as you grow in this business. John, how do you define success now compared to when you started?
First of all, Meredith, the whole staff, thank you guys so much. Janine, I'm telling you, this is a great company. Teresa and I have been in the business for the industry, the channel for a while. There's no company, and he just said, there's no company out there like what we have. We need to be grateful for what we have. Be grateful. So to answer your question, when Teresa and I first got in, it was about, I think we saw dollar signs. Can I say that? We saw an opportunity to enhance my pocketbook. So that's what we chased. Actually, that's what we did at the beginning. We started chasing money, ranks, stuff like that. But in time, as we grew older and grew, what this business is all about is about other people. And so Teresa and I, our goal isn't about. I mean, honestly, we don't want to be on this stage. Honestly, if the truth be known, we would say no every time. We would rather have our team up here because it's all about them. We want them to gain whatever their goals are. That is where Teresa and I's hearts are, to build that integrity, and that's where we're at today. That's our culture we're trying to build, the trustworthy and the culture of bringing more leaders up. Because I'll tell you, we got people that are leading the world, leading by example, pushing the good guy upstairs forward. I'm telling you, this whole world will be better. And so that's what Teresa and I try to put out there in the world.
Love that. Candy, I want to go back to you. As your organizations grow and you are, have that many more people that you feel, accountable to in some way, shape, or form to lead, how do you develop some boundaries? What have you found that works that you've put in place to avoid you feeling the weight of the world or feeling some burnout or feeling, tired?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think everybody here, if you get to a certain point, you can experience burnout at some point. It's easy to think, especially when you first get started, that you have to be available to everybody all of the time to be successful. But the truth is that's just not true. I've learned to be present, and that being present doesn't mean constantly being accessible to everybody. One of the first boundaries that I put in place was around my time, being intentional about when I work and when I rest. Encouraging my team to use group chats and some of the resources that we have so that they can find answers to their questions without having to rely on me all of the time. Another thing is that I strive for a healthy work-life balance. I think as brand partners in LifeWave, we have to model what we teach. So being good about, gosh, you guys, I'm so nervous. I'm sorry.
You're doing great. You don't need to be nervous.
I'm sorry.
You're awesome.
I lost my train of thought here. We have to prioritize our rest, our hydration, our movement, and patching consistently. Remember that leadership means leading by example and not by exhaustion. That's another big part.
That's huge.
Thank you, guys.
That is huge, yes. And we heard that twice, right? Leading by example. That is, people are looking to you to create that success pathway, and that's what, again, is so important about the systems, right? Because when you have a great system in place and people know how to follow it, then you don't feel like you're having to do everything all the time. Okay, last question is for you, my dear. If you were starting today, you've been in this channel for 30 years. If you were starting today, what would you focus on in your first 30 days?
Okay, that's a great question.
It's not you.
First of all, I just want to give a shout out to the corporate staff. I have to tell you, being in this industry for 30 years, my husband and I are so thrilled with this compensation plan. It is, 30 years, you guys, we have seen a lot. This compensation plan is absolutely amazing. If you roll up your sleeves and you go to work and you follow the system and use it as a stair-step ladder to go up. So something I would focus on. Yes, absolutely. In the first 30 days is building that foundation. The foundation is key, but build the foundation as quick as you can because success loves speed. So don't go too slow. If you can go quick, that's good. But use that compensation plan as that ladder to help your team. The other thing is teaching your organization to stay plugged in. So I think about my cell phone. If I don't plug my cell phone in every night before I go to bed, tomorrow morning it's dead. If you don't go to the events, if you're not plugged into the leadership, follow the leaders, if you don't do that, eventually you're going to die and fall away. So that's something that is so key to teach people is staying connected. But activity is what this business is all about.
Absolutely it is.
There you go.
Yes, and staying plugged in is tricky, right? Because like you've said earlier, a lot of people are doing a lot of other things. And so they're constantly being inundated by communication, whether that's the news or the 3,000 email lists they find themselves on, or things get buried, right? So they need to hear from you. Don't rely on the communication that's coming from us. They need to hear from their leaders too. So great advice. All right, you guys, was this awesome? Yes. So many good nuggets in there. I hope you took notes. You can always go back and watch it on the replay after, those of you in the room, and of course, those of you on virtual. Thank you so much for being here.